Hello, my friends. Welcome back to my channel. I hope you are doing wonderfully today. If you're here, it means you're excited to learn English while also learning about amazing personalities who change the world. Learning English becomes so much easier when you listen to stories, especially biographies of great leaders. Today, we are going to talk about one of the most inspiring figures of our time, Nelson Mandela. This is going to be an incredible journey full of lessons, emotions, and powerful moments. I will take you step by step through his life, from the very beginning to his triumph. So, grab a cup of tea or coffee, sit back, and get ready to improve your English while learning about the man who taught the world about forgiveness, equality, and the power of hope. 1. The early years, childhood, and influences. Nelson Mandela was born on July 18, 1918, in a small village called Mvezo, located in the beautiful hills of the Eastern Cape of South Africa. His birth name was Halala, which in the Xhosa language means pulling the branch of a tree, or more simply, a troublemaker, but his teacher later gave him the English name Nelson. Rolihlahla was born into the Madiba clan, part of the Thembu royal family. His father was a chief and a counselor to the Thembu king. Sadly, his father died when Mandela was only 9 years old. After that, he was raised by a regent of the Thembu kingdom. This regent treated him like his own son and taught him about leadership, justice, and the history of their people. As a child, Mandela loved to listen to the elders tell stories about brave African warriors who fought to protect their land. These stories planted a seed of courage and a desire for justice in his young heart. He was a good student and loved to learn. After finishing school, he went to university, but he was expelled for joining a student protest against the university's policies. This was a first sign that he would not stay silent in the face of unfairness. 2. Facing a harsh reality. The awakening to apartheid. Mandela then moved to Johannesburg, the big city, to avoid an arranged marriage and to find his own path. He experienced poverty and hard work for the first time. He worked as a guard at a mine and later as a clerk at a law firm while studying law at university. In Johannesburg, he saw the terrible reality of racism in his own country. At that time, South Africa was ruled by a system called Apartheid. This means apartness in Afrikaans. It was a brutal system of racial segregation. Black South Africans were treated as second-class citizens. They were not allowed to vote, they had to live in separate areas, they couldn't marry white people, and they had to carry special passes. 3. The freedom fighter. From peaceful protest to armed struggle, seeing this injustice, Mandela knew he had to act. He joined the African National Congress, ANC, a political party fighting for the rights of Black South Africans. At first, he believed in peaceful protests like Gandhi. He organized strikes, boycotts, and nonviolent demonstrations. But the government responded with violence, banning the ANC and arresting its leaders. Mandela realized that peaceful protests alone might not be enough to end apartheid. This was a very difficult decision for him. He helped form a military wing called Umkhonto we Sizwe, Spear of the Nation, to carry out acts of sabotage against government buildings, carefully avoiding any harm to people. He believed this was a last resort. 4. The prisoner. 27 years of captivity. In 1962, Mandela was arrested. 2 years later, In a famous trial, he was sentenced to life in prison. In his powerful speech from the dock, he said, "I have cherished the ideal of a democratic and free society. It is an ideal for which I am prepared to die." Mandela spent 27 years in prison. Most of that time was on Robben Island, a harsh prison off the coast. He was forced to do hard labor in a limestone quarry. Prisoners were separated by race, and black prisoners received the worst treatment. But Mandela never broke. He became a symbol of the anti-apartheid movement for the whole world. In prison, he continued to fight for dignity. He studied, exercised, and secretly taught other prisoners. He also began secret talks with the government. He knew that to build a new South Africa, he would have to talk to his enemies. 5. The triumph, freedom, presidency, and reconciliation. Finally, in 1990, due to immense international pressure and internal protests, the new South African president, F.W. de Klerk, ordered Mandela's release. On February 11, 1990, the whole world watched as a 71-year-old Mandela, with a proud smile, walked out of prison a free man. It was a moment of pure joy and hope. But his work was not done. Mandela and de Klerk worked together to end apartheid. In 1994, for the first time in history, all races in South Africa voted together in democratic elections. And Nelson Mandela, the man who spent 27 years in prison, was elected as the first black president of South Africa. Here is the most amazing lesson from Mandela. Instead of seeking revenge, he sought reconciliation. He established the Truth and Reconciliation Commission, where victims of apartheid could tell their stories and perpetrators could ask for forgiveness. He invited his former prison guards to his inauguration. He even wore the jersey of the national rugby team, a symbol of white South Africa, to support the team in the 1995 Rugby World Cup. This single act helped unite a divided nation. He served one term as president and then stepped down, setting an example of a peaceful transfer of power. He spent his later years working for peace, fighting HIV/AIDS, and helping children through his foundation. Nelson Mandela passed away on December 5, 2013, at the age of 95. The world mourned a true global hero. 6. The lessons. Mandela's legacy for us. So, my friends, what can we learn from Mandela's life? Courage is not the absence of fear, but the triumph over it. Mandela was afraid many times, but he never let fear stop him from doing what was right. Education is the most powerful weapon. Even in prison, he never stopped learning and teaching. Forgiveness is the path to freedom. He understood that holding on to anger would only imprison him and his country again. True freedom came from forgiving. Leadership is about serving others. He never saw himself as above the people. He was a servant leader. It always seems impossible until it's done. His long walk to freedom seemed impossible, but he never gave up. Nelson Mandela's face is on South African banknotes, and his legacy is in the heart of every person who fights for justice. He showed us that no matter how dark the night, the dawn will always come. He once said, "No one is born hating another person because of the color of his skin, or his background, or his religion. People must learn to hate, and if they can learn to hate, they can be taught to love, for love comes more naturally to the human heart." Let this story remind you that you, too, can overcome great challenges. Your story is important. Keep learning, keep hoping, and never stop believing in a better world. This was the story of Nelson Mandela. Thank you for listening. Let me know in the comments what you learned from his incredible life.